Seungju Kim of Korea University. Thank you. Usually, I don't enjoy lecturing at companies, but I understand that you do have simultaneous interpretation available. Thank you for providing that service. I did listen to all of the previous presentations, so compared to those presentations, I do believe that my presentation will be a little bit more technical. It doesn't mean that I will be sharing a lot of mathematical formulas. I entered university in 1990. After my undergraduate, I did my master's and doctorate degree, and the topic of my thesis was electronic signature or zero-knowledge proof. After graduating, I worked with cryptology at a government agency. When you study cryptology, then you come across words that you usually do not come across in information protection, and that is provable security. So this is proving security. It sounds very attractive. It is mathematically proving how safe something is. And so that is why cryptology becomes quite attractive. When we say zero-knowledge proof, it is one field of provable security. The issue here is that if you have not studied cryptology, then you hear the word provable security and you think, oh, you can prove that it is safe mathematically? Then it's unbreakable, you may think. And so what happens is words like provable security, zero-knowledge proof, these words are then used for marketing. Or when you have not achieved zero-knowledge proof or provable security, but you misunderstand that you have achieved this, or you may think that just because it is zero-knowledge proof, then you believe that it is absolutely unbreakable. So these are the topics that I would like to cover today, and I would like to focus on zero-knowledge proof. In blockchains, zero-knowledge proof is being used quite frequently, and most often you will come across zero-knowledge proof for the layer 2 solution of zk-rollup. In order to solve the speed issue of the main chain of blockchains, layer 2 solutions are utilized. When there are issues such as fraudulent activities, you need to be able to prove that a transaction is valid, and you use zero-knowledge proof to prove that something is valid. That is why zero-knowledge roll-up technologies have become very important for layer 2 solutions. And I'm sure that you have heard of zk-rollup. And for travel rules, there are coins that guarantee anonymity, such as Monero or Jetcash. Well, Jetcash is a prime example of a token that uses zero-knowledge proof, and compared to Monero, it provides higher levels of anonymity. And so I'm sure you have heard of this. Well, the technology called zero-knowledge proof is not exclusive to blockchains. It's actually used quite a bit for AI as well. When you are doing machine learning for AI, sometimes it includes private information. So in order to protect privacy, zero-knowledge proof is used. That's why we say zk-ML, which stands for zero-knowledge machine learning. Especially in the area of AI, when we talk about zero-knowledge, many people ask, is it different from full homomorphic encryption? Many people ask, what's the difference? Full homomorphic encryption. It is just as its name is. So when we say full homomorphic encryption, it means that the data can be multiplied, divided, added, and subtracted while it is encrypted. So it means that you don't have to decrypt the data when you do machine learning. And so that means that privacy can be protected. Well, that is quite true. And so Actually, in the area of AI, full momomorphic encryption, or FHE, is used, but at the same time, zero-knowledge proof technologies are also used. If you use zero-knowledge proof technologies, you are able to check if AI has computed accurately without exposing the data. This is called computational integrity. And so, FHE and zero-knowledge proof, they can be used together to make sure that private information is not exposed, but at the same time, machine learning becomes possible for AI. And when an AI gives you some results, you are able to check if it has computational integrity. And so, whether it be blockchains or AIs, zero-knowledge proof has become quite a hot issue. So let's now take a deep dive into zero-knowledge proof. On the screen, you are seeing two professors. On the left, we have Shafi Goldwasser, and on the right, we have Silvio Micali. Both are professors at MIT. In the area of computers, there is a Nobel Prize-like prize. Well, for math, that would be the Fields Award, and Fields Award was received by a Korean mathematics scholar recently. In the area of computers, an equivalent award would be the Turing Award. It looks like that huge bowl on the bottom left corner. So the Turing Award is like the Nobel Prize in computers, and there's not been any Korean recipients yet. Professor Shafi Goldwasser and Professor Micali did receive the Turing Award. And what did they receive it for? It's because of probabilistic encryption, the paper that they wrote, as you see on the upper right corner. So here you can see the history of provable security. So it shows the development of provable security. Whether it be blockchains or bitcoins, well, you are very knowledgeable about blockchains or bitcoins already, so you've probably heard of RSA coding or public key in crypto systems. The public key crypto system was developed in 1976 for the first time. And so the concept itself was developed in 1976. So they did have the concept back then, but they were not able to execute the concept. So let's say that we're trying to execute something with a software. We need algorithms. And so they were not able to create that algorithms. They just had the concept. In 1976, the public key in crypto system was developed, but many people tried to execute the concept, but they failed. And then 2 years later, in 1976, Livest, Shamia, and Leidelman, these three scientists, succeed in executing the public key crypto system for the first time. RSA was the first type of public key crypto system, but is RSA unbreakable? No one knows for sure. So RSA encryption has never been mathematically proven to be completely secure, but RSA has been used since 1978, and we've been using it for such a long time, and so people think it's probably unbreakable. We just know empirically that it's safe. And then in 1982, Professor Goldwasser and Professor Micali, that we saw in the previous slide, start to question this. Is it really safe? What does it mean to be secure? For example, so there are two people sending and getting ciphertext, and we have the ciphertext in the middle. So what does it mean for ciphertext to be unbreakable? And so these two professors start to think about this issue. Let's say the ciphertext says, I found a solution to the calendar sync problem. If someone can figure out this plain text, then this code has been broken. But Professor Goldwasser takes this a step further, and he says, So what if you don't know 100% what the plain text is, but you figure out three words, solution, calendar, and think? Does that mean that the ciphertext has been broken or not? Or if you don't figure out the plain text itself, but you figure out that the original message was in English, does it mean that the ciphertext has been decoded or not? And so that is the question at hand. And that leads to the mathematical proof of what it means to be secure. Professor Goldwasser defines the mathematical proof of what it means to be secure, and that's what you see on the right side. So that is what Professor Goldwasser has defined as being unbreakable mathematically. It looks quite complicated, so I didn't want to share the formula itself. It's just in fine print on the bottom. But what we need to focus on is the Turing test. When we think about AI, we always think about the Turing test. And so that inspired Professor Goldwasser to redefine what it means to be secure. So on the left is the Turing test. Let's say that there's a computer with the intelligence on par with a 5-year-old. And how do you prove or test that this computer actually does have the intelligence of a 5-year-old? That's the question. And so that is why we introduced the Turing test. So behind the curtain, there is an AI with the intelligence of a 5-year-old and also a 5-year-old child. And then in front of the curtain, someone asks questions. And randomly, from behind the curtain, AI answers or the 5-year-old answers. The person in front of the curtain listens to the answer, and that person is not able to figure out or distinguish who is answering. If it is indistinguishable, then we can say that this AI has the intelligence on par with a 5-year-old. That is a Turing test. And this is what inspires Professor Goldwasser. So in the middle, there is someone who is trying to decode the ciphertext, and you see the left and the right. It's slightly different. What is different? On the left, there is ciphertext. And on the right side, there is no ciphertext. So, what Dr. Goldwasser said, for example, there is someone who's trying to attack the system, and if this person has the ciphertext, public key, as well as the pre-existing information, and if the information from all this is the same as the information that this attacker gets from the public key and pre-existing information without the ciphertext, if the two sides are providing almost the exact same information, then the information leakage from the ciphertext is close to zero, and that is being defined as secure. And so, the information from the left and the information from the right, if that is the same, it means that there's no new additional information leakage from the ciphertext. And so, what I just mentioned in words is written in mathematical equation on the bottom. And so, if the mathematical equation is satisfied by a ciphertext, then it is deemed to be secure. And so, algorithms are created to satisfy this mathematical equation, and that is the concept of provable security. After this takes root, Dr. Goldwasser tries to apply provable security to other areas. For example, when we validate the user, you log on and the portal says, "What is your ID?" And you type in your ID. And then they say, "What is your password?" You type in your password, and that password is encrypted. And so we become curious. The server and the client exchange messages, but what if there is information leakage from these messages? How do you prove that there is no information leakage? And so Dr. Goldwasser focuses on this point, and that is why he comes up with the concept of provable security. Dr. Goldwasser says that if the client and the server, they exchange information, and if there is no additional information or zero knowledge that is leaked, then it is deemed to be secure. And this is the paper that records this reason. And so I talk about zero knowledge proof, and I try to explain it to everyone, but if you try to execute it yourself, it's quite difficult. And that is why in the late 1980s, we see the paper on the right. It's titled, How to Explain Zero Knowledge Protocols to Your Children. At that time, Kid Crypto was quite popular. Kid Crypto is to teach high school students cryptology without using mathematical equations. And that is why you see paper on the right side. And when you read blogs, it's based on this paper. This is it, the Alibaba story. So for example, Alibaba knows the keyword to opening the cave. And Alibaba is not satisfied with knowing that keyword. He wants to boast that he knows. So Alibaba wants to boast that he knows the keyword. I know the keyword to the cave. It's the magic keyword. And then people would say, prove it. The easiest way would actually to tell people the keyword so that they can open the cave for themselves. But then you would be revealing your keyword. And so this is a way to tell people that you know the keyword without revealing the keyword. So this is how you do it. You stand with a journalist at A to prove that you know the keyword. And so you're standing with a journalist in A, and then you leave the journalist in A and you go to B. And then when you're standing in B, you decide whether to go to the left or to the right. Let's say that you have gone to the left and you stand at C, and then the journalist would come from A to B. And the journalist would say either come towards the left or come towards the right. For example, you're standing at C and the journalist says come to the left, then you would be able to come to the left without saying the keyword. But if the journalist says come towards the right, then you would have to say the keyword and you would have to go to D and come towards the right side. So if you check once, there's a 50% possibility of checking whether I know the keyword. So if you do this 100 times, you would have to get it right 100 times in order to prove that you know the keyword. And so using this method, you would be able to prove that you know the keyword without revealing the keyword. That is called zero knowledge proof. But let's change the example. So this is what we do. So you don't have to do it all 100 times. Let's say that you are standing with a journalist in A, and you go to B together. And so we're standing together at B. And then you leave the journalist at B, and you come towards C, and then come towards D. And you can whisper the keyword. Then, with just one instance, you would be able to prove that you know the keyword. In the blogs, many people talk about this. They say that this is zero knowledge proof. But there is no explanations on why this is not valid. The first example or the second example, you don't reveal your keyword. That's the same. But the core of zero knowledge proof is this. Well, when I read some blogs on Naver, some artist actually put a dot on his picture and it was actually sold for millions of dollars. And people would say, I could have done that. So if someone tells you a story that's not interesting, that's something that you know, then you would say, I could have done that. If you say, I could have done that, what does it mean? It means that you already know. So it means that you already know. So there's nothing new that you have learned. And so zero knowledge proof actually is a mathematical expression of that. And so when we do zero knowledge proof, you saw a picture that was similar to this when we talked about public key crypto system. And so it's very similar. So for example, so you come towards the left and you come out the right side. You can actually simulate that. For example, let's say that the journalist checked with me 50 times whether I know the keyword, but what I can do is to stand with the journalist at A, and then you go to B, and then you can go to C or D, let's say that you went towards D, and then the journalist would come to B. And if the journalist would say come towards C, then you would not be able to do it if you don't know the keyword. But if the journalist says come through D, then you would be able to go even without knowing the keyword. So probabilistically, you probably get it right 50 times out of 100 if you don't know the keyword. And you could edit out the 50 times that you got it wrong, and you would be able to create a video that Alibaba had made. This is actually called simulatability. You can simulate it. But for this, such an edited video cannot be created. You have to actually go around. And so, is it simulatable? Is it not simulatable? That is the core of zero-knowledge proof. And so, when we express zero-knowledge proof mathematically, we use the expression simulator. So, is a simulator possible? That is very important. That is one of the most important issues. When I actually search on blogs, many people talk about this. Is digital signature a form of zero-knowledge proof? We all use digital signatures. It's safe, so you use it for online banking and whatnot. But digital signatures are not a form of zero-knowledge proof because it cannot be simulated. You cannot create a simulator. And so, zero-knowledge proof is not the same as digital signature. RSA and other forms of digital signature are not a form of zero-knowledge proof. But that doesn't mean that we do not believe that digital signatures or RSA is not safe. It just not has been proven. Zero-knowledge proof actually is a very sensitive technology. If you change the setting just a bit, zero-knowledge proof cannot stand. So here I have words like sequential, parallel, and concurrency. So for example, when you use a computer, you probably have many windows open at the same time. So if you have zero-knowledge proof in parallel, then zero-knowledge proof would not be valid. But if it's concurrent, it would be valid. And so as you can see, zero-knowledge proof, even if it has been proven, depending on the operational environment, the mathematical proof can be broken. And so it's a very sensitive technology. When I actually wrote my paper, I actually benchmarked the title of this Goldman Sachs report. Generative AI. Many people talk about generative AI, and Goldman Sachs wrote this paper. Generative AI, too much spend, too little benefit. So they say generative AI can do something, but maybe we can do it at a lower cost. Maybe it's over-exaggerated. When Goldman Sachs published this report, people started to talk about the AI bubble. And so I benchmarked this title and I wrote zero knowledge, too much spend, too little benefit. And so, are we actually using zero knowledge where it's not absolutely necessary, leading to more challenges? That's what I wanted to say in my paper. I'm sure that you have heard of Cardano, the cryptocurrency. It is the most scientific cryptocurrency, people say. So Cardano always talks about peer-reviewed research. So they say, we are actually scientifically proven at symposiums through peer review. And so Cardano always markets based on this phase, peer-reviewed research. And so they actually use proof of stake. And so here on the right side, you can see Ouroboros, the technology that they use. It says provably secure. And Cardano, it's proof of stake, and so you can delegate stake. And when they do that, they use technology proxy signature. It's actually delegation with warrant. And I actually created that technology. I'm the first one who did this because if you read this paper, you will see my name. It's a citation from my paper. Of course, it's not the exact technology that I made. It's an upgraded version. It says secure. So it's a mathematically proven version of what I had created. And so you can see that Cardano really loves to use mathematically proven technologies. I showed you the people who received the Turing Award for zero-knowledge proof, and Silvio Micali is one of them. And he actually created Algorand. This is a cryptocurrency. Are they using everything that's mathematically proven? But he actually received the Turing Award, so he probably did it well. It's actually quite secure. And there is a paper titled Another Look at Provable Security. And so we sometimes believe that provable security is unbreakable, and so we're overusing it. That's what this paper is worried about. Provable security means that it has been proven under certain conditions. It's not proven to be unbreakable. And so, at times, we are using provable security where it is not necessary. The blockchain community that I see actually uses provable security or zero-knowledge proof, although there are alternative technologies that is leading to a fall in efficiency. And so it's just turning into more work. I don't believe that that is ideal. So you need to move away from being hung up on provable security. And if you do so, you can have much more efficiency, although you can have security at the same time. And the issue of practicality, maybe you can be liberated from this challenge. Thank you for your attention.